Today, we are going to discuss UCLA and their chances in the not only the Pac-12 tournament, but also the March Madness tournament coming up. So the three things we're going to discuss is UCLA on offense, UCLA on defense, and the potential weaknesses UCLA might have. The first thing on offense, we're going to talk about UCLA. They are ranked 22 in KenPom. From my perspective, their offense is essentially shoot decent enough shots and let their defense essentially steal the show because their defense is absolutely tremendous. So the first thing we're going to look at on their offense is the number of times that they go to ball screen. When UCLA is unsure what to do, they essentially run some type of ball screen to create action for one of their main scorers. Their two main scorers are going to be Jaquez and Cambell. Both of them are very efficient, especially around the rim when they get it, and decent on their perimeter shots. One thing of note, when they run these ball screens, as you can see, they just default back to a ball screen. A lot of times, they are content settling for those longer mid-range shots. A lot of times in today's, the modern game, you'll hear something like pace and space and how you need to shoot perimeter shots. UCLA definitely goes not against that notion, but they don't buy into it as hard as some teams like Alabama or such. They are definitely content with shooting mid-range contested, but they're also content with getting to the rim like that. The next area of note is going to be David Singleton. David Singleton is their significantly best shooter from the perimeter. They'll run several sets, and he has great awareness around the perimeter and a tremendous, tremendous shot. In this game alone, when UCLA was struggling, he created shots for himself and was able to essentially feed off of any help that Arizona sends right here. You cannot send this number of help. He will absolutely make you pay. He is currently shooting 43, almost 44% from three on the year. Beautiful. Then the last area I want to touch on is when UCLA has a situation where they're not able to get a whole lot on offense, whatever it is. They seem to just go to Tyger Cambell and they just trust him to essentially get a bucket. And he's a good shooter, a great player, and he'll make most of those shots. In this Oregon game, which is their most recent game, this was essentially 4 possessions in a row. They just said, Tyger, just go get a shot. And he succeeded. This time, Oregon switches on him. I actually love this. Look at Coach Cronin up here. Look at how aggressively he starts yelling here in a second. So he is telling 2 to get out of here, just literally to give Cambell space one-on-one with this Oregon defender. That is a possession that UCLA will live with every single opportunity. And last one, again, this is just simply the next possession. UCLA, this I absolutely love as well because Oregon so much doesn't want Tyger Cambell to have the ball. They deny him, and so UCLA has been coached super well. Tyger Cambell knows that if he is denied, he can go set a screen and essentially take 2 defenders out with him because the man he's guarding is denying. So that creates a little unstructure in the offense, which allows a decent shot at least. Switching to the defense side of the ball, the biggest 2 areas I'm going to talk about are their post defense and their rim protection. They are elite at both. They don't send help, usually unless it's a huge mismatch, but they will provide pack line mentality where they're going to help off and make sure essentially no one gets any easy shots at the rim. No one gets any layups, none of that. They're going to force contested shots. Number 3 does a tremendous job just walling up right there and playing tremendous defense. Here, same thing. Arizona does a good job moving the ball around. UCLA plays aggressive defense on the backside. They're going to make sure that ball does not get near the rim. Again, in these situations, Arizona is a really good offensive team, so the fact they're able to hold Arizona in this situation and play such good defense is tremendous. Again, look at that, just swarming the ball as soon as it gets underneath. This is a tremendous anticipation by the offside defender. As soon as the ball gets moved in, this dude is already cheating down. He knows that they're trying to look for the rim right here. And then he's got to worry about both defenders. He is doing such a good job of being able to respect this dude as a shooter and then also help protect the rim. As soon as that ball goes in, he's moving, finds the ball, comes up through the hands of the defense, knocks it loose. Tremendous, tremendous. And then an underrated aspect on defense is how the smaller guards are able to handle themselves if they get underneath there. So while this actually results in a bucket for Arizona, this is still great IQ and spatial awareness by Tyger Cambell in particular. So because he's got the lowest defender, he is the help side. And yeah, he's not going to be blocking shots at the rim, especially against post players, but he still does a great job. He meets the offensive player on the edge over here. And while it's not like maybe he'd like to have another 2 feet out, he walls up and still forces a semi difficult shot, which is just like that's the best you can do as a guard in that situation. And especially not getting a foul. And then we're going to talk about the next aspect, which is the rim protection. So when a guard does get beat, which doesn't happen very often, how especially number 3 is able to clean up stuff around the rim. And this aspect is seen over and over again, especially with number 3 in the ballgame. He's a tremendous defender. So here, drive comes in. Number 3 is guarding both his person and then helping on the ball. Walls up. Tremendous recovery. Even though that got called a foul, I think on number 34 on the backside, the fact that he's able to get a hand up, he's essentially guarding the ball right here. And then win this pass, he can get off the ground so quickly and block this shot. That's amazing. Okay, and then lastly, we're going to talk about some potential weaknesses of UCLA. So because they play a pack line style defense, that's going to mean that when the ball gets entered, especially into like this little short corner area, they're going to have all their defenders, look at how many are almost touching the paint, if not cheating off towards the paint. Against good shooting teams, this will potentially cause some issues if you can find shooters on the backside. So first off, this pass by the USC player is absolutely unbelievable. That is tremendous. But USC was able to exploit this notion a couple of times where they're essentially taking advantage of the overhelp on the backside. Again, a great pass. And then their weakness potential on the offensive side is when they get stuck, especially down late in games. They kind of give it to one of 2 players. They give it to either Cambell or Jaquez, and they essentially let them work one-on-one, and this doesn't always lead to great shots. Like, this is a difficult shot. And don't get me wrong, he'll make those sometimes, but he'll also miss them as well. So in general, as referring to the NCAA tournament, the reason UCLA has such a decent chance of going a long way is because of their stellar defense. And so even if their offense is slightly off one day, the defense is going to go no matter what. So that will put them in a good position with even really good teams in the future. This quote by Tyger summarizes essentially what UCLA is.
Well, I was just more worried about winning. You said they cut it to 3, and coach called some great plays, and our bigs were getting me open on our ball screens, and then we were able to get the switch so I could get the shot that I wanted. And so I was really just trying to make anything happen. I believe in myself as a player, and any shot I take, I feel like it's going to go in. But they just went in today, so yeah, I was thankful for that.